Hello and welcome to the Growing in Business interview series. I am Flemming Johnson, your host, and today I'm joined by Sue Falcone, who is the president, founder of Remarkable. So, Sue, thank you so much for coming and joining us. Would you just take a kickoff now and give us some brief background of who you are and what you do?
Sure, be glad to. Thank you for inviting me. I always love to come on podcasts wherever and record live and recording. But I'm Sue Falcone, and my company is Remarkable A Speakers Bureau. And what we do, we book outside the box. That's what we do. We book events globally. We're for speakers, professional business speakers, celebrities, speakers. We provide executive coaches. We provide corporate training. Also, we provide entertainers and music artists. So we expanded our business. This is our 16th. We started our 16th year. And I did this coming from corporate America. I transitioned into this, and I love what I do and who I get to do it with. So that's the life of an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Okay, tell me, what inspired you to start your own business, and what was the kind of the initial spark that got you into taking this entrepreneurial leap?
Right. Well, I transferred to here in North Carolina with AT&T. I had a successful long career there, and I did very much the same thing. I booked outside speakers, outside trainers, outside coaches. I organized all the global events. I did all those kind of things. And so when it came time, our business unit was closing, and I had to make a choice. I could either keep moving or I could decide to start my own business. That was the two choices I had. And my husband said, I just don't want to move one more time, which we didn't. I didn't. And so I decided, okay, it was a closing of a business unit. So I had a little stipend to start. And I said, okay, what do I want to start? What do I want to do? So I went into a couple of things, and then I became a speaker myself. Because that's, I was used to doing that. I love speaking. I love writing. So I wrote a book. I started speaking. And as I did that, and I was on every speaker's bureau in the world, and I thought that was going to be the rest of my life. My husband was going to transition out of his career, and we'd just be traveling, speaking all the time. That was the plan. But then I met all these wonderful speakers. A lot of them I had known before. And I realized speaker bureaus of today don't do too much for their speakers. They're more listing bureaus than actually booking bureaus. So I said, what if I start a custom boutique speakers bureau that would actually book, that would actually take and get to know who they represented and all about them personally. And so that's how we started. And now we've grown. We're global. We represent some of the top speakers in the world and the top talent, entertainers, and music artists in the world. So it's just been that journey, of growing and knowing your market and knowing how the changes happen in our market. Know your industry. That's the key thing, inside and out. And of course, I know it from the event planning stage of it, hiring stage of it, to actually being on the stage of it, to now representing those who are on the stage. So I've got the whole package.
That's very cool. Tell me, what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address
Well, I think the common thing is this one I wrote a book on is fear.
it?
Some people just don't know how to overcome rejection, because there's going to be rejection wherever you're at, but they don't know how to have those skills to be able to say it's okay and move on. Or they don't sometimes have a business plan. They don't know how to do that. They don't know technically how a business operates because you've worked for a company all your life, so you didn't have that technical. And then the financial. They too don't have that financial. A lot of people go into business without having a financial plan. Disaster happens really quickly. And so I think the key thing is you've got to make sure you've got everything checked off before you actually say, this is what I want to do. And I'm glad I had some help in that area. I sought the help and I kept refining it so that I knew no matter what would happen, I could handle it. And I think that's where people are even today, since we've come out of COVID and all. It's been that process. If they didn't have a strong enough business plan, they got in trouble. We pivoted and didn't get in trouble. So that's kind of, I think the key things is you've got to be aware of what it takes to run the business.
A term that we hear a lot is work-life balance. So tell me, how do you maintain a work-life balance as a business owner? Do you have some personal rituals and habits that you use that keep you motivated and focused?
That's a great question because, even in my 30-year career with AT&T, I didn't own the business, but that was still a struggle because I was one of the blessed and fortunate ones that I was really an entrepreneur before I could even pronounce or spell that word. Sometimes I can't even understand it. I keep wanting, I don't know, Flemming, we need to come up with another word. All right. Because really we're all we own companies, we own businesses, but they consider entrepreneurship different. And I said, I just didn't see any difference because I was allowed in AT&T to be an entrepreneur. So, but that took on the responsibilities of the same that I have today of the time. And unfortunately, in corporate America, sometimes you can't always choose that. You kind of have to go with what it is. And I can remember those 100-hour work weeks. I can. And that was a sacrifice. So when I started my business, I said, I can be a workaholic real easy because it came easy. But you have to understand yourself. You have to know your limits. And also the people that work for you, with you, you have to also know their schedules, so you can't demand. You have to allow for that time. And I have a little sign that says, work hard and play hard. And you flip the sign. Okay, so that you can kind of separate them. But yet again, you really don't, because even when you're out having fun, it's still there because people recognize you, they know you. And even though you're not there for business, sometimes it just happens. So you have to be prepared for that. Like carry materials with you, make sure you have everything with you so that you can, even in a social setting, be fine. But again, I have to make time every day for me. I have to get up, or I get up early. I'm always been an early person. And I have to spend time planning and making sure that my mindset, everything is ready to approach the day. And that has kept me balanced. That's kept me focused on what I need to do. And I've set regular hours pretty much. Now that can, since we're global, that can go out the window sometimes. Because, when you're talking to Dubai and they're 8 hours ahead of time, you got to kind of plan this a little bit. But I have a great supportive family that has helped me plan that. And that's the key thing. You've got to have that support system around you to say it's okay. Like tonight, I have a group that meets here in our training center to exercise. Because we need to stay healthy, or you can't run a business if you're not healthy. It's very hard. So, you have to make sure, and we're already planning vacation time and all those kind of things. So you have to know that if you're not well rested and if you're not feeling great and if you're not in the best of health, then your work suffers. And as a business owner, suffers big. So you have to make sure that that's all in together. And of course, we belong to organizations that help us do that. We go to church and we do all those kind of things that help give us that balance.
Now, you had mentioned over your career and prior to starting your business, a career that just gives kind of a long span of seeing change and development. And so, in this constantly evolving business landscape, how do you stay adaptable and open to change?
Great question. That's asked a lot, especially since I've been in the workplace. I'll honestly admit it, I love it. I don't know what else I would be doing. I've been in the workplace 56 years. And in 56 years, I can tell you, yes, lots of changes. But I welcome change because I know once I see the value and once I see what it's all about, I can handle it. Now, recently, since COVID, it seems like change has come at us at a faster pace than we can ever imagine. And as a company and a business owner and a CEO of a global company, I have to make sure that I have to review them before we just jump in and say, oh yeah, that's what we're doing. Today, this is what we're doing. Okay. No, I'm a planner and I have to make sure that that's good for my business because not every bright, shiny thing in change out there, whether it's technical, whether it's communications, whether it's how you actually do business, all those changes, you've got to make sure that it's going to fit in your particular industry and business. The biggest one right now is AI, and I address that because I've done a lot of research and I've done a lot of study. And I think that's where you have to be informed about the change that you're doing. And
I like your
that's
progression there. You talked about, first of all, welcoming change, but then anticipating what it means, evaluating exactly how it impacts and or enhances your business, and then figuring out how you will adapt. Yeah.
I have to have all those steps, even though people say, oh, you're just such an extrovert. You could just do it. You could just, make sure that you could handle it and all like that. And I said, well, I love people and I love interacting and communicating and all, but I also like to be prepared. So I have to do my homework and my research before we decide to either expend our time and resources, expend finances, whatever. We have to make sure. I want to make sure that I'm making the right decisions before we actually do that. And I think today, we've got to take that into account, that not everything is made for everybody. And, that's, and I'm not the fit as my company. I'm not the fit for everybody. And so you have to know your targets and you have to know them very well. Just like I know who I represent at Remarkable, but I also know who our clients are and who our target market clients are. So I kind of know where they're at in their change too. So it's like you've got to kind of anticipate that.
So could you give a glimpse into your future plans and goals for your business? What do you envision as the next chapter?
Well, we always have big, lofty goals because I believe in bigness. I believe that you don't have to stay in your comfort zone. You have to get out of there. And during COVID, we talked about this earlier, we pivoted overnight into virtual. Now, was that comfortable for me? Well, no, it wasn't any more comfortable for me than it was for my speakers or anybody else. But I said, we're going to get this. And now virtual is not going away. It's only expanded. And everyone says, oh, we don't do virtual anymore. I said, oh, trust me, my clients still do virtual. So we want to be known at Remarkable A Speakers Bureau as the virtual bureau of the world, because we believe in that. It's going to only expand. And you can't always travel. You can't always gather up everybody at one place. So you have to have that as part of your package. So I decided, now it's been a year and a half, I decided I need to get in this too. If I was going to promote that we had the best virtual talent in the world, I better be doing it myself. And I had no clue, except I went and got me a broadcast director, and she developed, we have a multi-live streaming show every Friday morning. Then it becomes a rebroadcast. And then the following Wednesday becomes a podcast. It's on all multi-level channels. And it's amazing that you can do this. And I was in Dubai last Friday with one of my speakers by virtual. I mean, who would have ever thought you could do that? So we're only going to grow that part of our business, because in executive coaching, as you know, and in corporate training, yeah, people love this. They don't want to necessarily gather in person, or you can't travel to them easily. So that's one of our big goals, because a lot of bureaus, I'll be honest with you, they never really got too excited about it. And because they thought, well, it's just going to come back in person. And so we've planned for that. We want to make sure that everyone knows that, hey, we can book outside the box. That means we can do, whether you want in person, whether you want a hybrid, whether you want virtual, whatever, or a combination of all of it, we can do it. And so I think that's, when we're looking that forward ahead, then we can pick up on what it's going to take to do that. And I think that's in your industry, you need to stay on top, aware of what people want.
I'd like you to speak now to aspiring entrepreneurs. What advice would you offer if to someone who's just starting the journey or facing some challenges in their businesses?
Well, I say you need to decide your financing. You need to make sure that you're going to be able to, because we bootstrap our business. We still do. We're debt free, because that's the way that we knew we wanted to live. And so we took it to our business as well. But I think that's today, is because businesses can get overextended in the credit market and all like this. So you've got to be very careful of that, because you want to make sure that you don't, lose credibility. You don't lose what you're working at, and make sure that you've got a good CPA and you've got a good attorney. You've got to make sure these things are in place, because in today's world, no matter your industry that you're in, they're going to come up, and you need the people that are directly involved with your industry and know your industry of what you do, so that they can help you to stay out of that. So that's a planning. Again, it's planning in advance. You just don't jump into it. And like I said, I had savings. I had things that I wanted to, do. So I had it worked out so that I don't have to worry and stress and fret over finances, that I can then go do the job that I need to do. That's the key. And I think that's where a lot of people, especially during COVID, they just didn't have that part of the business plan worked out. And so that's what kind of put a lot of them under. And so I think today you've got to be really smart to know where you're going, so that your family can support you and go along with you. So you're not, having to bring that into your family. So that's kind of key, my advice to people.
Sue, thank you so much for your time today. It's
So
been
exciting.
great to meet you and to learn more about your entrepreneurial journey. And interestingly, it spans a lot of time and a lot of places around the world. So,
Exactly. And I'd love to speak with anybody. Just we're all over social media. You can connect with me on LinkedIn at Sue Falcone or Remarkable Life Speakers Bureau. Our new website's up, remarkablespeakersbureau.com. So we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help anybody, because like I said, we're all about helping people, and that's what succeed, and that's what we work on, and bringing you and your audiences an experience of a lifetime. That's what we do.
and to everyone watching, we say thank you and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode.